This video is part of a series of SSIS tutorial videos created by COZYROC. In this video, I will show you 3 different ways to specify the cells from an Excel file that you want to load into a SQL Server table. The first way I'm going to show you how to read the cells out of an Excel file is using the worksheet method. Let me show you what the Excel file looks like first of all. So it's called worksheet demo.xlsx, and here you can see we have 6 columns across the top, and we have 24 rows. So you can see we have multiple worksheets in here, and the one we're interested in is this one, which is called Park County. Now I'll go over to Visual Studio. And so we'll start out by dragging the data flow task onto the control flow canvas. I'll double click on it. And now we go down to find the Excel source component and drag that onto the data flow canvas. And I'll double click on it. And we didn't set up a connection manager in advance, so I'll click on New here. And I'll browse to find that file, worksheet demo. It has already chosen Microsoft Excel 2007 to 2010. And that's fine with me. The first row does have the column names. And then we'll choose the Park County sheet. And we can preview it. And there you see the data again. And that's all we need to do to configure that. Now we'll go find the OLEDB destination. And I'll connect the arrow from the source to the destination and double click on the destination to open the editor. And again, we did not set up the connection manager in advance, so I'll click on New. And we'll find the database called New Tutorials. And then we need to find the name of the table, which is called Worksheet Data. And we'll view existing, and you'll see there is no data in there right now. And we do need to click on mappings, because then the source columns will get mapped to the destination columns. All right, so we'll close the destination editor. And that's all we needed to do. I'm going to save the package, and I will execute it. And it was successful, 24 rows. So I'll stop debugging and we'll go over to Management Studio and, oops, no, we want to select from the worksheet data table. And there's our data, and it says it has 24 rows. Stay tuned to see the other 2 ways to specify the cells to load from an Excel file. In this segment, I'll be showing how to use a named range in an Excel file. Let me show you the data we're going to be working with in Excel this time. So we're using the named range demo file. And there you can see it has 24 rows and the same 6 columns. And I want to show you how the named range works. So we'll go to Formulas. And let's say there's a guy named George who wants some specific data out of here, just certain columns and certain rows. And so he or someone would have already set up this named range, and I'll show you what that looked like when I configured it. So I gave it the name George Data, the scope I used Workbook, and I put in a comment there, and here it shows the actual cells that I want to copy over in a range. So when I click on that, it shows a border around the cells that are in the range. So I'll just cancel out of that and close this and close the Excel file. Now I'll go over to Visual Studio, and now we'll drag the data flow task onto the canvas. Double click to get to the data flow and scroll down to find Excel source. And we'll double click to open the editor. We need to set up a new connection manager for this file. And it's the named range demo file. And we're going to leave the Excel version set like that. We are including the first row, so that does have the column names in it. And then we'll click on this to find the sheet. And we actually are not going to use a sheet, but we're going to use this George data, which is the name of our named range. And so we can preview the data, and there, see it's only picking up the 4 columns and only some of the rows. I think it's 12 rows. And we can go look at the columns. So those are the 4 columns that the range included. And now we'll go down and get the OLEDB destination and connect to the source to the destination. Double click to open up the destination component, and we need to click on New to set up a new connection manager. We click the New Tutorials database, and then we're going to choose the table in that database for the named range data. So we can view existing, just so you can see there's only 4 columns in this table. And then we need to click on mappings, so the source columns get mapped to the destination columns, and then we click OK. All right, so we're done configuring it. I will save the package and then execute it. And it was successful, so I'll stop debugging and we'll go over to Management Studio and take a look at that table. So now we want the named range table. And there you can see we have 12 rows and 4 columns. In this segment, I'll be showing how to specify a range that is not named in the Excel file. So first I'll show you the Excel file we'll be working with in this segment of the demonstration. So I've already selected the cells that I want to load into SQL Server. Now, selecting them here has nothing to do with how SSIS or how our package will know which cells to load. I just selected these to show you. It does not include the column names up here, so just keep that in mind. I'll point that out when we're configuring the package. So I'll drag the data flow task onto the canvas, double click on it, and go down to Excel source, double click. Need to set up a new connection manager. So we browse to the range demo file, so it has the path. We'll leave the Excel version alone, and we're not starting with the first row, so we will not have column names in that first row. And now here for data access mode, I need to select SQL command. And then I already have the command configured, and it was in my clipboard. So the way it works, you're doing like a SQL statement. So you select all from, and then this is the name of the worksheet. And then you put a $sign, and then you put the upper left cell of the range with a colon, followed by the lower right cell of the range. So we can preview that data. So you can see we only have 4 columns there. And it just, since it doesn't know the column names, because we didn't use the first row, it will just put in F1, F2, F3, F4. So, and here's the columns again. Now, one way you could provide the real names of the columns is to use the advanced editor. So to use that, you would right mouse click on the component and go to Show Advanced Editor. And if you go over here to input and output properties, you're actually able to specify different output columns. You can remove each of these. You would click on remove column, and then you would add columns back in with the correct names. I'm not going to do that. That's one way to deal with it. So now I'm going to just drag OLEDB destination onto the canvas, connect the source to the destination, open the destination. I need to set up a new connection manager. So I choose the one for the new tutorials database, and I'm going to choose the table called range data, and we can view existing. So you can see it has the actual names of the columns in there. So these are not going to be mapped automatically, as we can see by clicking on mappings. So now I need to manually map them. So if we had added the columns the other way I showed you, these would have mapped automatically because I would have put in the same name as what we have in the table. But this is another way of doing it. So now I click OK, the red X goes away, and I will save the package, and we'll go execute it. And it was successful. So I'll stop debugging. And we'll go over to Management Studio. And let's see, here's the range data table. And there's the data that got copied over from the specified cells. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to follow us on social media, here's how you can do that.